The following content may contain language or imagery that may be triggering or considered as outdated views on HIV/AIDS. These views, as conveyed by the participants, are a reflection of their personal experiences and opinions, which were shared authentically and may be considered sensitive to some viewers.
I'm from Saskatchewan, Reims City, way up north. I lived in Edmonton since I was like 9 or 10 years old, so Edmonton is like my home now.
I grew up here in Edmonton all my life. I'm originally from Northwest Territories.
I'm in Edmonton Southeast. So the community there, of course, there are people who are good.
Well, I've been in Edmonton for a little over 2 years. Not a whole lot of support for gay people and stuff like that. There's no bars and stuff like that, so it's not like I'm part of the party crew or I'm part of any other general clique. I get along with everybody. I can mesh with pretty much any crowd that's out there. So I'd say just a general community. I don't classify myself as like, you know, I'm strictly gay, I'm strictly bi. You know, I have to stay with these people only. I'm all inclusive.
Desde que llegamos aquí ha sido una experiencia agradable, ya que la gente que pues lo ha sabido ha sido muy amable, muy atenta, ha tenido la disposición de darme toda la información que necesito en cuanto a al medicamento, ya que en mi país no dan este tipo de detalles. Por ejemplo, el no combinar medicamento, el tomarlo a cierta hora, toda esa información en México no me la dieron y aquí sí.
I lived on the streets for 9 or 8 years, you know, due to alcohol, and it was pretty rough. And then I went partying one time in 2006 with a guy in a hotel room and drinking, and he was doing needles, and I didn't know. I felt like I wanted to get more high, so I asked him if I can try it, and I didn't think he used the same needle, and I did some. I blacked out after that, And between when I was living on the streets, I always go see the doctor to have a checkup. And so I went to see a doctor the last time, and they took some tests every now and then just to be safe side because I lived on the streets. And they called me in and they told me I have HIV.
I'm relatively new to it all. I was really diagnosed 5-6 months ago. Just as I actually was here at HIV Edmonton, just routinely getting testing done because my partner at the time, he wanted to get tests done because he didn't feel the greatest. And so I went in. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'll go with you. It's gonna come out clean like it always does, like I did the previous test, maybe 9 months beforehand. And sure enough, I got the call and they're like, can you come down? I'm like, well, you can tell me whatever over the phone. We discussed that already. And they're like, you should really come down. And I'm like,
Geez, I've been HIV 20 years, if give or take, about there, pretty close. I went to the hospital for a regular blood work, is how I got told I was HIV. It wasn't even for an HIV, it wasn't even regarding anything to HIV. It was just blood work, a routine, and then she said, come into the office. And then that's when she told me about my HIV.
But no, it turns out I sat down and she's like, you have been diagnosed with HIV. And my world just went.
And I burst out crying, and I hated myself then, and I felt disgusting, and all that. I was scared, and 2006 when I found out I was HIV, and they told me places where I can go to get help and to get meds and blood work every 3 months or so. And I was still living on the streets, and I took it hard and I started using cocaine, and I used it really heavily, and I weighed 110 pounds. I seen a lot of people die in front of me and a lot of scary things, and I was working the streets. I didn't care about myself. I did whatever I could to end my life. I had relationships, and when it came serious, I told them about my situation, and they took off and they broke out with me, and I had people call me names and put me down and threaten me and try to get me beat up.
A period where I couldn't handle it. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was extremely self-destructive, and that's putting it lightly. And it took coming here actually to HIV Edmonton to their sharing circle, and it's something they had every Wednesdays, and there was only 3 of us in this whole thing. There was a gentleman who who facilitates the circle himself, and then one of the students here she wasn't HIV positive, but she sat there and she listened to our stories, and hearing the gentleman give his story about how he dealt with it and how he had his walk with it, it cracked the shell that I'd put around myself, the protective shield, like nothing can hurt me, I'm this a self-defense mechanism, if you will. And I cried, I'm not gonna lie. I blubbered like a baby for a little while because I'd never heard anyone talk so candidly about it. I always thought it could be a possibility with my lifestyle, because being mainly gay, doing stuff like escorting and stuff like that on the side. Like I always knew that there could be a possibility, but you can never prepare yourself for that kind of news. And
at that time, I didn't have enough education, I guess, if you will. So it was denial. Yeah, I was angry. At first, more angry than anything, because I couldn't believe that happened, or I allowed that to happen. My HIV isn't caused by having sexual intercourse or being promiscuous. It was drug use. And I was doing treatment for that too.
And that other lady, she was like kind of older, and she was jealous because I used to go out with her old man, you know, and I just told her, just leave it alone. That was like years ago, you know, and she wouldn't listen, and, you know, she just did whatever she could. Even in the mall one time, we were in the mall a couple of times actually, and she hollers out there, hey, that woman has HIV, don't go around her, she has AIDS, you know? And that was really hurting feelings, and it made me cry and upset, and I ran out of the mall, and, you know, and I told my friends, and they told her, don't ever say that again. That's, you know, that's hurting feelings, and you can get charged for that.
But as soon as you tell them your status, like here, they sound a bit awkward. They just give you a look. They don't know what it is to be HIV positive. Like, it's something very new to them, but yet they kind of like feel scared. They are scared. They don't want to associate with you. So that's what I've gone through so far. I've been here for almost 6 months now.
I get hurt pretty fast when someone puts me down, you know, and those hurting feelings could take you somewhere else, you know, like.
Well, my family, I told right away. I told over the phone. I told my sisters. And because I think my parents, well, my mom could be a little old school, well, a little uneducated on that, that's all I would say for her. And she can be a little ignorant that way, right? I guess anybody who doesn't know enough information on what they're talking about. It was just family. I told the HIV to first, that's basically immediate family, because it was like having two strikes. You know, growing up here, being Native, you're taught to be ashamed of that. And when you're gay and you don't know, don't want to say that because it's a shameful thing too. So it's like I had two strikes against me wherever I went. Be it work, employment, looking for employment, or housing, or even just acquaintance.
Then I got clean because I felt my body was shutting down, because it was like a wake-up call. You live or die. So I have grandkids, I got kids, I got good friends. So I chose to live a better way. I prayed a lot, and I wish for a better life and to live with this HIV and you know, continue taking the pills and get off the streets, which I did, and I got a sponsor, went to meetings, I did the big books, I did journals, all that, and I got connected with my grandkids, my family. I got a home now, and I've been taking the meds since then, and I'm protectable now, and I go for blood work. Everything's good, and my health is good. I've been clean and sober since 2009, December 1st.
Keep fighting. Is this going to be the end for me? Would this be easier, so I don't have to deal with this for the rest of my life? And I sat there and I'm like, well, you know, there's a lot more to live for. Didn't look like much then. Still kind of doesn't now, but you know what? Find a silver lining. That's always been my mantra throughout life, as is, and I think that's pretty much what helped me get through it all.
Well, I was looking for a doctor. This was a few years ago, specifically who had knowledge with HIV. He did take the appointment, but when I went there, he didn't have enough education on HIV. So I had to go look for another doctor, which at that point I thought it wasn't just the HIV, but I thought maybe it was because I was Aboriginal. I actually just met my doctor December. I did some blood work for him, and I'm going to go see him on the 15th in regards to the baseline of blood work and where we go from there.
they think it's AIDS. It's not AIDS, it's HIV. It would have been AIDS if you wouldn't take the meds and take care of yourself. But you know, I'm taking care of myself, and I know the, you know, the safety things to deal with, you know.
And yeah, when I came to HIV Edmonton, I was getting familiar with my own, how to live or what not to get in trouble with, or where to apply, because even back then, it was people who were HIV would say, don't go to that building because they won't take you. It was usually word off the street or who you knew that where to apply to live if you're looking. And that's why, I don't know if it was management or that, but they seemed like they were like putting them all in one area when it came to housing and management.
I didn't know nothing about my culture because I've been growing up in foster homes and I've been sexually abused and all that. So, you know, my life, I ran away when I was like 16 or so, and I didn't care about my life. I just did whatever I did, you know, follow the other people. And now I know like so many people because I lived in Edmonton so long. I used to work in bars, I used to work in Dollar Marana and other places. I do, you know, a lot of things. I know like almost everybody, and they're friendly with me, they love me, they don't care if I'm HIV, they, you know, and I've been single for a while now because I chose that way. I got a really good heart, and I hate to get it broken again, you know.
They are not aware how HIV is spread. Maybe they need to know that it's not contagious, or maybe they need to be educated, I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, HIV is spread sexually, which means no one can even get it by just talking to somebody, by just sharing a seat with somebody, by just sharing utensils, like you share the same plate, you share the same spoon or whatever. I don't know what really is the matter with them. It's a contributing factor that I'm a black woman, and I think they just take it that the HIV is mostly affecting the black people. I don't know. But I just feel that maybe if I wasn't black, maybe it was going to be different. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh well, we don't communicate our HIV positive condition. Like we're like really reserved about it. But other way, like for our sexual orientation or anything, Canada has been always been welcoming and very, very friendly.
Kind of hit and miss with them, because like there'll be the doctors who, especially at the Northern Alberta program, they're so, they're not like other doctors you see like in the hospital, you know, because they're more sympathetic. You know, they understand because they're doing their job in a specific field of medicine, you know, for you know, to help with finding a cure or whatever their desire is to help the HIV AIDS community.
Just like anybody else would want to be treated, I guess. And Dr. Romanowski, Barbara Romanowski, is who my first doctor was for HIV. And she was just like an aunt or a mom. She's like a family member there. Very nice, and empathy. If they had a little bit more empathy, then it would be probably a lot better. I guess a little better. I think some individuals might have it. Every individual's case, I guess, would be different. Even if I am Aboriginal or that guy was Aboriginal, because I've seen that too, where they would treat you differently, as in like how they see you.
Pues ha estado en ese proceso, tanto emocional como el cuidado, el no dejarnos de preguntar cómo nos encontramos, si necesitamos ayuda, si hay alguna manera en la que nosotros podamos sentirnos aún mejor aquí. Hemos sentido un apoyo muy grande en lo emocional, porque es realmente una comunidad que se preocupa por nosotros.
Well, my family doctor I have now, he's okay. You know, he's my family doctor. He's okay. My HIV doctors, it's her, and they're very polite, and they take their time with me, and they ask me if I wanted to, do my blood work or my flu shot or whatever. And if I don't feel well, I said no, another time, or, so they're really comfortable, and they sit down with me, and they ask me if I'm okay and how's the meds working for you and everything. People living with alcohol system or whatever that is, that's me, and slow learner, and I make sure they understand that I am a slow learner, and they have to sit down with me and discuss it with me, because half of the words that they say, I don't understand it, you know
what? I don't know. I think just doing what the doctor, in regards to my HIV, is just taking my meds and going for blood work. That's all my doctor said, just take your meds.
But their faces look different. As soon as you let them know that you are HIV positive, then their faces change. And at one point, the time I said it out, I saw the person running to get gloves. As soon as I mentioned that I was HIV, then they were quicker to get gloves. On this other occasion, they had two. She was wearing a pair of gloves, and she went for the second pair. I felt that it was okay with them, but for me, of course. But since I am used anyway, this HIV used to be a scary condition, but with a lot of education, it's no longer as scary as cancer, because people are dying of cancer, while people with HIV are living some 20 good years. Yeah, so seeing somebody acting that way, it's not a problem to me.
Everybody knows I'm HIV, and if they had HIV or whatever, if they had questions or anything, I had people come up to me and ask me, what do I do, or how do I live with this, or all that stuff. And I send them down here at the HIV, or I give them a number and they phone them or whatever. Be comfortable with it, just do the right things, like continue seeing your doctor, getting checked up, and going for blood work, and take your meds, and use safe sex or whatever it is all the times. And if you get a cut, clean it and bandage it up right away, or
Unfortunately, here in Edmonton, I haven't been exposed to those groups. It's only that I was told of this group, this department, only some weeks back. If ever I knew, I should have come earlier on, because I really need to support other people who are in my condition. Yeah, because I myself, I believe I have understood this and I have accepted, because there is no need for me to be negative about being positive. I should be positive because I am positive, and mentally I should also be positive. Yeah, so if ever I have the chance to interact with other people like me, I will do that gladly.
Vayan con una terapeuta, que no dejen que este acontecimiento se llegan a separar, hay que platicarlo. No hay que empezar a tirar culpas. Realmente uno no sabe el por qué pudiste contraerlo. Hay muchas situaciones, entonces es importante que se comuniquen, que platiquen cómo se siente la otra pareja. En este caso, en ambas situaciones, porque pues la que no lo tiene va a preguntar cómo lo contrajo y pues la otra persona pues se siente impotente al no poder responder a veces esas tipo de preguntas.
Beading is, when I came clean, one of my daughters taught me how to bead, and I love crafts since I was young. I see a lot of people doing it, and so I thought I'll try, and I did it, and I've been doing it since I've been clean. I make good money on it, and I make a lot of good regular customers and good friends, and go to different places to sell my things, and I teach other people to do it, because beading for me is, it takes everything off my mind. When I do it, I listen to good music and to learn them our culture or whatever, I'm Dene anyway, I don't speak Dene. But yeah, to learn them our culture and knowing what's like how you can make a project and what it's made of and all what you need out of it. And I learn all these other new things from other workshops I go to, and they teach you, So, that's really, really nice, to learn from different things, doing different things,
Realmente ha sido un proceso muy difícil desde que pues supimos la noticia, pero realmente lo hemos llevado muy bien, ya que pues conforme han pasado los años, todo ha sido lleno de mucha paciencia y pues la confianza, los cuidados correctos, la alimentación. Realmente hemos encontrado un intermedio, un punto en el que ambos pues constantemente nos cuidamos y pues nos contamos toda la verdad en cuanto a este tipo de situaciones, el cómo nos sentimos el día a día, el no dejar que este tipo de situaciones nos separe. Al contrario, fue más como un poco más de unión, porque ya no hay ese tipo de tabú en cuanto al tema.
And it's just, like I said, just help with people like here at HIV Edmonton. They've been a godsend. Because I've been coming many days just like on the verge of tears, just like I could just ready to throw in the towel, which I've never ever done in my life, down to where I'm at now. It's been a long, hard journey. Even though it's only been 6 months, it's been probably the hardest 6 months of my life.
I am in a condition, and this one is in a condition. We will be speaking the same language. Yeah? So, supporting one another, it helps us get rid of that stress. Because this is a condition that I'll be carrying till my death. Yeah? It's never like I'm now negative, no, but only can be the virus suppressed, just suppressing. And this condition is just as good as cancer. Maybe it's different a bit. Let me take an example of arthritis. Arthritis, you only live with it. It's never, you can never do away with arthritis, but you can only suppress. So that's the same with HIV. It's never done away with, but it's only suppressed. So by mixing with the people like that, people like in your situation, then you can help each other. You can tell each other how to remain positive.
even though I'm HIV, I'm protectable now, and you know, I have a great life now, and I have great friends living with HIV, and people supporting me, and
I started HIV meds early, and ever since then, I never really had complications with HIV. I see my HIV doctor once a year. It's been dormant and undetectable. I'm grateful for that. The meds work. The meds work if you are faithful.
Pues la verdad, aquí me he sentido más acogido en cuanto a mi situación, ya que en México es un país que a pesar de que se habla mucho sobre la aceptación de la comunidad y las personas que somos positivos, no hay la aceptación. Todavía es algo que la gente le tiene miedo, la gente te discrimina, la gente se aleja de ti, te excluye de todas las situaciones en las que todas las situaciones pues en las que puedas sentirte cómodo. Ya no eres una persona, sino ya eres eso que está enfermo. Aquí la poca gente que ha sabido realmente, he sentido la amabilidad, la aceptación, realmente uno se siente apoyado.
There's need for awareness of how this virus is spread. I think people need to know more about the ways to spread the virus is spread, because the 90%, I think, if not 95%, I don't know, but I think 95% is shared sexually. As long as you are not going here and there and there and then, no, you never spread HIV. The other ways to spread HIV are when you share same needles, when you are cut, and when you have an open wound, and someone with this virus is also having an open wound, so that blood finds its way through the other person who is negative.
I would say just follow the routine of the meds. If that's what he's worried about is HIV, but because the meds are pretty much, they work.
So, peer support is definitely needed more than I would say more than medication, because I bet obviously medication helps you live, but without dealing with the mental aspect of it, it's the medication isn't going to do too much good, because if you browbeat yourself to the point where you become a zombie. Like, do you want to be a zombie or do you want to live? Like, talk to somebody, reach out to somebody, do whatever you have to do.
I couldn't ask for any more, and I know my parents are looking down on me, and they're proud of me to keep up having a good life, and I didn't give up. I'm not a giver, I'm not a person that gives up, When I want something I want to do, I make sure I do it, and I finish it.